Abraham Lincoln is regarded as a hero. The stone has his face carved into it. Generations after generation have quoted him. However, history frequently oversimplifies complicated individuals. Lincoln was not a strong man at birth. He lacked confidence. Furthermore, a lot of his biggest problems were never solved during his lifetime. We need to look past the monument in order to comprehend Abraham Lincoln. And go back to the man. Abraham Lincoln was born in 1809, in a humble log cabin on the edge of the American frontier. His family knew poverty, and survival was their daily struggle. Formal schooling was rare, but Lincoln hungered for knowledge. He taught himself by reading borrowed books, their pages illuminated by flickering candlelight, after long days of backbreaking labor in the fields. From these nights of solitude, he absorbed ideas, stories of history, law, and human nature. Each word became a stepping stone, lifting him beyond the boundaries of his world. From an early age, Lincoln learned two truths that would shape him for life: hardship and patience. These years did not yet forge a leader. They forged something deeper. A thinker, a man who would wrestle with questions of justice, freedom, and the destiny of a nation. Lincoln's early adult life was marked not by triumph, but by failure. He lost elections again and again. His small business collapsed, leaving him in debt. He endured heartbreak and the loss of loved ones, grief that cut deeply into his spirit. At times, Lincoln wrestled with shadows of depression. A struggle rarely spoken of in the polished summaries of history. He was not a man untouched by sorrow. He was a man who carried it quietly and kept moving forward. What kept him going was not the belief that greatness awaited him. It was something simpler and harder, the conviction that the work itself mattered. That effort, even when unseen, had meaning. This persistence, quiet, uncelebrated, and often unnoticed, became the foundation of his character. And when the moment of leadership finally arrived, it was this endurance, forged in failure, that gave him strength to guide a nation through its darkest hour. Lincoln entered politics during one of the most fractured moments in American history. The nation was torn apart, over slavery, over the balance of power, over the very question of identity. Every debate carried the weight of a country on the brink. Contrary to the myth of a man born with unshakable convictions, Lincoln's views did not arrive fully formed. They evolved, slowly, painfully, through struggle and reflection. He wrestled with compromise, balancing moral ideals against the harsh realities of politics. Each choice demanded sacrifice. Each decision carried consequences that could not be undone. His leadership was not driven by certainty. It was driven by constant questioning, by the courage to doubt, and the discipline to keep searching for what was right. History remembers the decisions he made, but it often forgets the torment behind them, the sleepless nights, the burden of conscience. When the Civil War began, Lincoln stood at the center of a storm. Every choice before him was impossible. Each decision carried an unbearable cost. Measured in lives lost, in unity shattered, in futures forever changed. He was criticized from every side. To some, he moved too slowly. To others, he pushed too far, too fast. The chorus of doubt surrounded him, and yet the burden of choice remained his alone. Leadership in this moment was not heroic. It was heavy. It was the weight of a nation breaking apart, and the responsibility of holding it together. Lincoln carried that weight quietly, not with grand gestures, but with endurance. A steady hand, a patient resolve, and the silent knowledge that history would judge him, not by ease of his path, but by the courage to walk it. Lincoln's greatest legacy may not lie in his actions, but in his words. His speeches were short, deliberate, and deeply reflective. They carried the weight of a nation, yet were spoken with the humility of a man wrestling with responsibility. He did not speak as a ruler issuing commands. He spoke as a human being, searching for meaning in the midst of chaos, and offering conscience as a compass when certainty was impossible. Even today, his words echo across time. They remind us that leadership is not built on absolute answers, but on the courage to speak truth with honesty, to guide not with power, but with conscience. This, perhaps, is Lincoln's most enduring gift, the reminder that words, when spoken with integrity, can outlast war, division, and even death. Abraham Lincoln did not live to witness the nation's healing. His vision remained unfinished. His questions lingered, unanswered. History made him a symbol. A monument carved in stone, a figure larger than life. But beneath the symbol was a man. A man who was introverted, insecure, and tough. He was a man that bore doubt, but also hope. Who struggled with mourning as well as obligation. To remember only the hero is to forget the humanity. And perhaps, it is that humanity. His quiet endurance, his imperfect struggle, his willingness to keep searching for what was right, that is the most important lesson he left behind. Not certainty, not perfection, but the reminder that true leadership is born from humanity itself. History remembers names. But names alone are not enough. Understanding begins when we remember people. Their doubts, their struggles, their humanity. Abraham Lincoln was more than a symbol carved in stone. He was a man who carried burdens, asked questions, and sought meaning. And in remembering the person behind the legend, we discover the lesson he left for us all, that true leadership is not about power, but about conscience, compassion, and courage. So as we look back, let us not only honor the name, let us carry forward the humanity. Because it is in that humanity that history becomes more than memory. It becomes wisdom for the future.